Oh, almost had it. Wapachah! All right, today's video, we're gonna be checking out a brand new battery from BigBattery. All right, so if you're new here and not aware of any of my videos, I'm a big fan of the BigBattery batteries. All right, and I've got a 14 kilowatt hour Rhino battery, and I also have a 5 kilowatt hour Husky battery. I've been running my house off grid pretty much with those two batteries in parallel. Pretty much since I got them, minus, you know, a few random days when I'm testing some other batteries or the winter because we have like no sun here during that time. Anyway, a brand new battery just showed up or was just delivered. It's sitting in my garage right now on the floor. Let's go check it out. Boom! We just took delivery of a Condor Elite 3, and let me tell you, this thing weighs 282 pounds. If anybody is getting a big ass battery from BigBattery, this is what it looks like before, you know, everybody unboxes them, etc. So I think that's what I'm gonna do now is try to get this big ass thing inside my house through that door. Before we do that, we'll rip off all this plastic stuff so we can get that inside. Hoo-wee. Oh, almost had it. Oh, got it. Stay. This is gonna be super sketchy. If you're doing this by yourself, don't do it. You're definitely gonna want some people to help. So the plan is get it inside the door, lay it down, and then slide it down the stairs. Yes. Well, drop test is done. It's on its side now, so now I can slide it down the stairs. Don't do this by yourself. All right, here we go. Got it down the stairs with some help, of course. Boom. There you go. All right, so obviously I did scratch it up, trying to get it off the pallet. Doesn't really matter, it's just the box. All right, let's unbox it. Oh, I got a fan above me, hold on. All right, how about right here? We have some cables here. These are 4 AWG with a SB175. Yes, SB175 Anderson connector. It's probably 3.5 feet long, and you got the ring terminals on this side that are crimped. Oh, got it. I will say one thing real quick, make sure you pull off the box so you can get your cable out of there, because if you pull it off with the foam, you won't even know the cable was there. All right, here we go for the sexy... Nope, I ripped it. Oh, I ripped it again. It's sexy. That's sexy. I swear. Boom! All right, so what we have here is a 48 volt Condor Elite 3. It is 231 amp hours or 11.8 kilowatt hour. Huge! Anyway, we'll do a quick measurement real quick. The width right here is 21 inches across from ground to the top, 32 1/8. And the depth, 9.5 inches. All right, so it's pretty big, but it's kind of small at the same time. All right, so on the front side, they got their logo right here. This one is actually a lot nicer or fancier than all the old ones. This is like a raised sticker. Pretty nice looking. We got our little screen up here on the top, and that's pretty much it. If we go over here to this side, this is where you're gonna plug in your Anderson connector, and this is the first time I'm actually seeing this on a BigBattery, is the little communications port. I don't know anything about that yet. Hopefully by the end of the video, I can have some information about that. But anyway, it's an RS-485 and a CAN port, and that is pretty much it on this side. On the back side, we have a QR code. It probably just takes you right to their website for this product. We have a little panel right here for a 300 amp fuse. I have no idea what's under that panel. We'll probably take a look here in just a few minutes. And then on this side is a sticker with all the specs on it. It says Condor Elite 3, 48 volt, 11.8 kilowatt hour. Voltage range 43 to 58.8. Obviously the chemistry is lithium iron phosphate. The amp hour capacity is 231. Max continuous power is 7,500 watts. And then you get a maximum discharge current for 6 seconds, and you can do 350 amps. All right, max charge current 90 amps. There is actually a warning right here. Charging voltage must not exceed 60 volts, all right? Actually, you don't want to go over 58.8, but for us, we usually charge up to around 56.4-ish. And of course, it does have casters down here, so you can roll this big-ass heavy thing around, and I just noticed it does have these little brakes. Alrighty, and of course, me being me, I have to see what's under the hood. So we're just gonna take off a couple of screws and panels and see what we can see. All right, closer look in here, and we'll just start with the Anderson connector because that's where the power goes out or in. So we'll just follow the red battery cable that goes over to the 300 amp fuse, and then from there it goes down, you know, towards the battery. Same thing for the negative side right here. This one does have some of that thermal wrapping on it, whatever you want to call it. All right, goes into the BMS and then exits the BMS with this blue wire and then goes down to the battery. This one does have an active balancer. I know many people are fans and many people are not fans. It does have a Bluetooth wire, so we'll see if we can connect to that in a little bit. All right, anyway, so off the active balancer, we got wires going to this side and it goes down towards the battery. And then same thing on this side, wires go down underneath towards the battery. Everything's got wire wrap. You know, it looks pretty nice in here. There's your little communication board with the RS-45 and CAN port on the other side. And then right here, is right behind that panel that says nothing. I'm going to take that off real quick and see what's actually behind that. Oh, there's a button. Oh, that's your active balancer button. Oh my gosh, I'm freaking out right now. This is exactly what you need. When you first get this battery, pull off this little panel, boom, push that button. It's going to activate the active balancer. We will slowly charge it up for the first time to let the cells balance out. Once it's fully charged, come back here and turn that button off. All right, anyway, I'm gonna leave it on so we can start balancing. Nice, hell yeah. And here they have two of their little mini fire extinguishers. So if I pull this out, this is like a temperature probe, if you will. And if it senses too much heat or let's say a fire, even though these don't really catch fire, it will basically, you know, and does its whole extinguish thing if for some reason there was ever a fire in here. So anyway, it looks like we have two 8S's in here, and this is a circuit board that attaches all the cells together. No, I won't be able to get that out. All right, I'll just leave that there. All right, and another thing that I saw right here is they got foam on each side of the boxes in here, you know, right there, going up, so nothing's gonna be moving around. In between all the cells, they're using fish paper as insulators. And then of course on the ends over here inside the box, it looks like there's some foam stuff in there. Everything is isolated. So yeah, there you go. Nice. Boom, all put back together except for the little panel for the active balancer. Boom, there you go. I would say it's looking pretty darn good. And yes, I am just a little bit excited about that little tiny button for the active balancer. And I'll tell you why. So the reason these big ass batteries come with active balancers, at least from Big Battery these days, is because the batteries are so big. With the BMS that's in there, it balances just a little bit at a time. So with these big ass batteries that are inside, it just takes a long time for everything to balance out. With the active balancer in there, it just speeds everything along so you can use the full capacity of your battery sooner. So the big thing about the switch is after you charge it for the very first time and everything is nicely balanced at the top end, you can turn that switch off and never use it again. Or if you get into a situation that I do in the wintertime, we don't get sun for like days on end, and I'll drain the battery down and it might be down there for a couple of days. So during that time, the battery might get a little out of balance. So if you happen to get into that situation and whenever you charge it up, you see your cells are out of balance, hit that little button for a little bit. After they're balanced out, hit that button again and turn it off and you should be good to go. All right, enough of that. Like I said earlier, if you're not familiar with my videos or my channel, I'm a huge fan of having a battery backup system. Not only for myself, but for you guys also, or at least trying to help you guys set one up for yourself, because you never know when the power is gonna go out. And of course, you never know when it's gonna come back on. Take the last couple of years, for example. It seems like every place, at least in the United States, is losing power from a natural disaster like a hurricane, a tornado, some nut job shooting a substation. Take me, for example. I live in a cold climate, and I tell you what, I do not want to lose power in the wintertime ever again. I have been there and done that. It sucked. And that's one of the main reasons why I am building a DIY off-grid system right over there, which we're going to hook up this battery to in just a minute. And maybe I can help out you guys by testing these batteries and finding out which ones work and which ones do not. Possibly save a life. So that's basically what we're going to do today, is simulate another blackout from a natural disaster, a hurricane, tornado, you know, whatever. We're going to hook up the Condor Elite 3 to my off-grid system over there, test it out, and see how long it lasts. Having said that, there's a few things we're not going to be running in this video, which is my stove, air conditioning, and dryer. Those things are on another panel on the other side of my house. They're not connected to my sub panel over here, which is powered by my off-grid system. It's just a wiring thing that I got to do. I just haven't done it yet. All right, that's enough of me talking over here. Let's go over to the off-grid system. I'll just give you a quick little rundown of my system, and then we'll get the test started. Quick explanation of my system back here, just so we all know exactly what's going on and we're all on the same page. All right, so inverter is a 12,000 watt grow watt split phase low frequency inverter. All that means is it basically mimics the grid, all right? And that pretty much powers my entire house minus my air conditioning, stove, and dryer. Also, I wanted to say that this inverter has an automatic transfer switch, which allows you to switch back and forth from grid or off grid seamlessly without losing, you know, any power whatsoever. All right, so output from the inverter comes out of the wires down here and goes into this sub panel again, which powers everything minus those 3 items. All right, and then that connects to a double pole 60 amp circuit breaker right here. All right, and I also have the grid coming in to this circuit breaker right up here as it normally would. Okay, the only difference is I have a generator lockout switch right here, and that allows you to only power your panel or your house from one source, either the utility or grid power or the inverter or a generator or whatever you got. Okay, so basically power comes into the top, powers the panel as it normally would from the grid, or you can flip the little generator lockout switch, turn on your inverter, and then now you're powering everything from the inverter. Also keep in mind, which is going to blow your mind, the grow watt inverter is also connected to the grid. All right, so that's right through here, again connected back there. So grid power comes into the inverter, it can pass through the inverter, go through these wires and power your panel, or you can shut off the grid through the automatic transfer switch and continue powering your house. All right, let's see. I also have a little over 5 kilowatt of solar on the roof that is connected to this inverter right here. There's 2 PV ports on the bottom. They're connected right there. And then right over here, I just installed a ground mount array, and that's roughly 2,000 watts. It's brand new. I've only used it for a couple of weeks, so we're still doing some testing on that. And then right down here, I've got the Rhino battery, and then right over here, I have the Husky battery. All the rest of this stuff over here is part of my DIY system that isn't complete yet. All right, so that's the system that I have. Alrighty, anyway, let's go hook it up to the off-grid setup here and get started. Whenever you roll this thing around, you want to roll it, you know, in the long ways direction. Don't push it this way, because if something happens and you catch on a wheel, you're gonna knock this thing right over. All right, let's do it. Right over the carpet, no problem. We're gonna set the brakes so this bad boy doesn't run off on us. All right, so the only thing I did off camera real quick is connect the wires to the bottom side of the inverter. And I do have a bunch of other wires hanging here. This is not permanent, okay? That will change later on once this whole setup is built over here, okay? We got the wires right here. I got the Husky right here, Rhino right here. Those two are disconnected with the wires right here, all right? I just wanted to prove that real quick. Off camera also was put my house back on grid. So all I had to do was turn on the main circuit breaker back on. So now we're back on grid. So we're gonna take our Anderson connector, plug it in, and we'll turn on the inverter. All right, inverter is powered on. What I'm gonna do is just turn on some solar so we can recharge the battery. Once the battery is charged, I will I will be right back. All right, a short time later, and we're actually, it says 100%. We're charging at 22 amps right now, and it's actually going down. And the reason for that is I have my inverter set for 56.4 volts for the full charge. And on here it says we're 56.3. So we're technically full charge in my book. Oh, and the app, not the BigBattery app. I already named it Condor Elite 3. So you can see right there, hopefully we're charging at 2.8 amps, 160 watts. Scroll up a little bit. Cell delta is 106 millivolts. Keep in mind, this is the very first charge, so not everything's always way out of whack when you first do it. So actually a slow charge is perfect for this. All right, so there you go. And if we scroll down here, you can see 2 battery cycles, and that's the ones that they did. All right, so there you go. I guess throughout the video, I'll be carrying around this phone so we can see how much power we're actually using. What we're going to do now is just start the test. Time now is 3:21, and we're going to go off grid. All right, so I'm going to hit my main circuit breaker, killed power to everything. All right, flip up the generator lockout, turn on the inverter. Oh, haha, I forgot my breakers down here. All right, breakers down here. All right, so now that we're completely running off of the battery, we're sitting at 54.12 volts. My house is drawing 21 amps from the battery, or 1,135 watts. That's in my entire house, minus my stove, air conditioning, and dryer, okay? And you can see the time right up there. It is 3:23 p.m. All right, there you go, 100%, 17 amps from the battery, 53 volts, and if you see right there, at this current right there, we have roughly 11 hours and, I don't know, 12 hours left. Again, that's just gonna vary all the time. We go over status. All right, so on status, we got our discharge and charge buttons. Don't press those when you're running off grid, by the way. It says we have 216 amp hours, but that is incorrect because we haven't done a full discharge test on this at all. So once we do a full discharge test, it'll actually recalibrate, and that'll be a new number. Max temp 84 degrees, min temp 68 degrees, and then your advanced shows you all the cells. And they're all sitting at 3.3 right now. And yes, from the previous video, it would be cool if they showed the other 2 digits right there, but you know, it's fine. So what I usually do next is walk around the house and show you exactly what is on right now, just to give you an idea. So right up here, this is a fluorescent light. It's not LED or anything like that. There is one LED light right there. These 2 LED lights right here, one there, one there. I've got these 4 all back here across the ceiling. And these ones usually are not on. I just have those on for recording purposes only. We got a beer fridge right here that is being powered. Got an LED light right there. And then there's 3 bulbs in that one right there. Got an LED light right there. Here in the kitchen, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 LED lights on. And then we got a little tiny light right there. One over here by the coffee pot. Of course, we're powering our refrigerator up here. Got a little cat fountain dish thingy right there. Got the solar powered cat. There's 2 lights in there. 1 light right there. We got the little air filter guy right there. And it looks like we got 2 more in the hallway down here. Of course, at the bedroom, you know, there's like clocks and phantom power type stuff. Oh, and of course we are also powering the furnace, and it will come on, you know, randomly throughout the day. TV room, we've got an LED light on right there, and there's 1 back there and 1 right there. And then right down here, of course, we have all of our little modems and routers and computers and all that crap is on. Computer stuff's on now. All right, since the computer's turned on, we're now drawing 22 amps or 1,200 watts. All right, next thing is something you probably wouldn't do in a power outage, but you could, I guess, if you really needed to. You could run a saw, you could run an air compressor, and of course you can run space heaters. The 10-inch sliding compound miter saw is 120 volts, 15 amps. The air compressor is 115 volts, 14 amps, 2 horsepower or 2.5 horsepower peak. And then we have the space heater here. I'm not exactly sure how many watts it is. There's no stickers on it anymore. It's around 15 or so 100 watts. All right, first thing that we're gonna do is the 1500 watt space heater. At this current moment, we're drawing 22 amps or 1100 watts from the battery. All right, heater on low. All right, this phone is kind of slow. Now we're drawing 38, 39 amps or 2,000 watts, just a little above. All right, we'll go to high. And now we're drawing 53 amps from the battery or 2,700 watts. All right, so I think this phone is really janky and old, so it might not update as quick. Next is the air compressor. What I saw there was 50 amps and 2,600 watts. Next, we're gonna do the 10-inch sliding compound miter saw. It's not gonna be the full effect because I'm not gonna cut any wood in my basement, but it'll give us just an idea. Here we go. Okay, I have no idea because this didn't update. Saw it jump up to 90 amps. I didn't see what the watts were. I'll do it one more time. I saw over 3,000 watts. All right, so we have the heater on low. We're drawing roughly 40 amps or 2,000 watts. Here's the saw. Of course, it didn't show it. Try it one more time. So you might be saying, oh, that is great, Joe. What about if it is a real power outage? You know, you're not gonna be running all this crap. So if we start turning everything off to really conserve, let's see what we can actually get down to. At this current moment, with all the crap on, all the lights and stuff that we went through earlier, we're running at roughly 1,150 watts, all right? So I'm gonna go turn off all the crap and we'll just see how low we can actually get. Now there is gonna be a few random things that I'm gonna keep on, and that's just because I need those on, okay? Turn off these lights. I'm gonna leave the tool batteries and stuff plugged in. All right, computer is down. All right, so now you can see we almost cut it in half with just the stuff that's down here in my shop area. So we're only drawing 600 watts, all right? Let's go turn off the rest of the lights that we wouldn't actually need. We'll leave a couple on just in case it was nighttime to simulate that. Do a lot of the kitchen lights off. We'll leave on these two right here, and then these two small ones. There's another one right over there. We'll leave those on too. We'll leave that single light on, and again, this stuff down here is gonna stay on. Turn those off. This little light right here, turn him off. All right, here we go. This is just a couple of lights, 2 refrigerators, cable modem and stuff like that, you know, a couple random clocks around the house, and some phantom power. We're drawing 6.6 amps or 350 watts. Not too bad. All right, so we're down here in the basement now. All right, and we're just gonna go to the menu here to see where we're at. We're sitting at 93%, and if we're only drawing 6.6 amps the entire time, which is gonna be pretty impossible for when the wife gets home, we can run for around 30 hours and 48 minutes. All right, this is for all of you guys or girls that say you don't need a backup system or an emergency backup system. I asked my wife, what is important to you in having a battery backup system? Followed her back, straight back to the bathroom, and she pointed at all of this stuff. She said this stuff right here is really important for women to have working, especially if you have to go to work that very same day. So we're gonna plug all of this stuff in, show your wife that it still works. And we're just gonna plug it all in. Probably gonna have to find a few more outlets. And this one is a travel one. I don't really know what it is. It's like pliers. So at this current moment, we're drawing 6.5 amps or 350 watts. I'm gonna turn on this thing, I think. Turn that one on. This hot stick thingy over here. All right, those pliers are turned on. Still 885 watts. Drawing 31 amps or 1,700 watts. And that's including all the other stuff that we're powering. I'll just let this run for, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes. All right, I don't know how many minutes that actually was, but if you had a power outage, you could still use all of this stuff. There is one other thing I wanted to mention real quick is the garage door opener is also being powered. If you have no power, if you're outside, you can't use your clicker to get in. Obviously, if you're inside, you can pull the red rope and then lift up your garage door if you're strong enough. I can barely lift mine, it's solid wood, so I need a garage door opener. All right, so now I guess what we'll do is turn on the TV right back there. Maybe you wanna keep an eye on the storm or the news or whatever. Maybe entertain the kids or yourself. You know, you could do that. At this moment, we're only drawing 500 watts. I don't know what size that is. It's 60 or 65, I'm not sure. There's a sound bar and, you know, the little speakers that go along with it. All right, now TV's on. We're drawing 11.93 or 12 amps, we'll just say. 630 watts. I would say that's still pretty good, honestly. All right, we're gonna step back in time and heat up this cup of water. Maybe you gotta heat up some food. You know, whatever you got to do in a microwave. And we'll just drop that right in here. I don't know how long this takes. Here we go. We'll go 2 minutes, maybe? I have no idea. All right, that was 2 minutes. Let me see what we got. I can still hold my finger in there. We'll go another minute. All right, that's pretty warm right now. All right, so you can definitely heat up some water or some food in there. Now we're going to simulate making some coffee. I'm just gonna pour water in here and go over the old grounds, okay? This is just an example of something that you could do if you had power. If you didn't have power, no coffee for you. We went up to the max for 12 cups. Time 5:03, we're sitting at 52.88 volts and we're drawing 520 watts. We're going to turn on the coffee pot right now. Boom. All right, and now we are drawing 34 amps or 1,764 watts. Possibly nobody else has power out there, so you can't even drive anywhere. No coffee for you unless you have a Condor Elite 3. Ooh! Alrighty, so coffee's done and we are back down to 700 watts.
Hello.
We just made simulated coffee.
Oh, not again.
Yep. All right, so wife is home and all the lights are on. We're only drawing 650 watts. All right, so the treadmill is gonna kick on here in just a second. All right, treadmill is on and we're just barely sometimes hitting 1,000 watts. All right, so I would say that's doing pretty darn good. So that is, all right, so there's 20 LED lights on in just these two rooms right here. All right, and then there's probably a light on back there where she's at, and the treadmill, 2 refrigerators, garage door opener, you know, and a few other random phantom powers. All right, and we're only drawing less than 1,000 watts. I would say that's pretty damn good, right? Doing pretty good? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yippers, you betcha. All right, I will check back here in probably a couple of hours. Boom. Time now is 11:58 p.m. All right, so it says we have 32% left. Are we gonna have enough till morning? Coffee pot is set for 5 a.m. Are we gonna make it till then? I don't know, let's see. All right, so down here on the screen, we're drawing anywhere from 9 to 13 amps. Battery voltage is 52.15. And just a second ago, that was at like 5 hours and it just jumped up to 9. I did hear the furnace just kick back off, so that was probably it. So we might actually make it until morning time. So anyway, 32% says we have 9 hours left, 69.6 amp hours. And if we go into the cells here, everything is still sitting at 3.3 volts. I would say that is freaking amazing. I'd say we're doing damn good. I don't know, are we gonna make it till 5 a.m. and the coffee pot's gonna turn on and make coffee from the battery? I don't know, we'll find out. One thing I do need to do real quick is turn the solar panels back on. If the sun shows up, it'll start recharging. I won't get full sun on the panels until like noon, so it'll be a slow charge until noon, and then we'll get full power. But again, it won't be full power until noon, but that's okay because I'll have to come back down here and lower the max amp on here so we don't completely blow this up. All right, there you go. I'm gonna go to bed and I will see you in just a minute. All right, this is what we look like at 6:48. I missed it. It's just switched over. Back on grid at 650. Alrighty, good morning everybody. Obviously it is the very next day. Time now is 9:19. I'm a real person now. I had some coffee. I think we did a fan-freaking-tastic job running the entire house, minus the 220 volt items. Off of this battery, we ran for a little over 15 hours. And for part of that, we didn't even conserve or anything like that. Basically, when the wife got home, we ran everything as we normally would, and we still ran for 15 hours. I would say that's pretty damn good. We go down here and turn the screen on. We're actually charging at 9.3 amps right now, so not a whole lot. 25 hours to full at that current limit right there. So there you go. Cells right now, 3.2, 3.3. All right, let me throw the charger on it real quick and get her charged up. All right, here we go. I'm gonna change only solar to solar and grid charging. All right, there you go. Now we're charging roughly 50 amps. Might go up a little bit more since the solar is also recharging. So if we charge at 60 amps, it gives you a rough estimate of how long it's gonna take, of course. Here a little bit later, whenever we're a little bit more full charge, we'll turn on the active balancer to make sure everything gets balanced out. Again, you don't have to do that very often. We're just doing it since it's a brand new battery and nothing is really balanced right now. All right, I just took the top off the battery so we could take some temperature readings, and we're still charging at 75 amps, all right? So look at the battery cables. Those are, at least the hottest point right now that I can see is 109 degrees right over here. I can keep my hands on there, no problem. Go across over here to this side. That is 109 degrees. On this battery cable right here, again, you can keep your hand on it, no problem at all. Roll around to this side. We're around 90 or less, so not too bad. BMS is cold, actually, or room temperature, I should say. If I go to the battery cables on the other side where it comes into the battery, those are sitting around 100 degrees. Again, you can keep your hands on there, no problem at all. Figure we're gonna take the front cover off too, why not? We'll do some temperature readings down here if you guys even care. We go down to the batteries, like 80 degrees, so room temperature. Nothing hot at all. Battery cable back there, 88 degrees, 89. So we're doing real good, real good. All right, it is 10:18 a.m. and we're charging around 80 amps right now, doing pretty good. 4,400 watts to be exact. The cells are pretty balanced right now. However, we're getting up there kind of close to where we could turn on the active balancer, which I think I'm just going to do right now anyway. So that's that little button right back here. All right, I'm just going to turn that bad boy on, and now that's going to help us balance out a little bit faster whenever we are full charge. All right, so on the little screen, 34% charging, 80 amps, voltage is 54.26. Status right here, everything looks fine. Max temp is 106.8 degrees. Everything is normal. Total cycles now is 3 discharge cycles, so we've only done 1. There was 2 when we got it. And then if we hit the cells right here, you can see the highest and lowest with the blue and green. So looking pretty good. All right, I am told that this one can communicate with the inverter. So we may shut down some power here. We're not sure. So I'm gonna plug in with an Ethernet cord into the RS485 port on here. BMS port down here. We're gonna go into the menu setting, go to option 5 and choose the lithium setting, and then we're gonna choose protocol 2. All right, so we might get a flicker. Hasn't shut down yet. Interesting, it's actually working. All right, so it does work. Nice. Where are you going? Nowhere? Okay, anyway. All right, so we have the Ethernet cord connected to the RS485 port on the battery. And we're going up to the BMS port on the inverter. And if you look right there, we're connected with lithium. Boom! Batteries just amaze me. All right, so I'm basically going to let my house run off of this for the next week or so. And I guess by the time I'm done editing this video, I will let you know how that goes. Boom! Fast forward 4 days. Yes, I'm really slow at editing that much footage. Anyway, fast forward 4 days and I'm still running my entire house off-grid off of that single Condor Elite 3 battery. Now, the only thing that's different from the very first day or the very first test where we weren't running off solar or anything like that, I left the solar connected. So what that allows me to do is just basically be off-grid indefinitely, unless there's no sun, of course. But basically what happens is I'll recharge during the daytime, and then once the battery is full charge, I'll run my entire house off the excess solar, and then roughly 7 p.m. the sun kind of goes down over the trees over there, and then I run my entire house off the battery overnight until the next morning, until the sun comes back up, and then we just repeat. So technically I could be off-grid indefinitely as long as the sun comes back up in the sky. All right, so we'll just do a quick little recap of our power outage. All right, so we lost the grid power at roughly 3:23 p.m. And we powered a whole range of different things, air compressors, saw, space heaters, microwave, coffee pot, just pretty much everything. Half of those things you wouldn't run in a power outage anyway. It was just, some of it was just an example. And even part of that test, whenever the wife got home, we ran everything as we normally would. We didn't change anything that we would throughout a normal day. And we even made it until 5 a.m. to make our morning coffee, and then the battery died at 6:50 a.m. We ran for 15 hours and 27 minutes. And for reference for you guys, my upstairs is 2,250 square feet, and the basement's pretty much the same. It's just unfinished, so they don't count that. So almost a 5,000 square foot home. I would say that is pretty damn good, if I do say so myself. All right, next we'll go over the pros and cons real quick. All right, so for cons, I kind of have 1/2. The first con is the communications with the battery and inverter. Some of it might just be me, and I don't understand how all of it works quite yet. So how I normally run my system over there with the settings and stuff like that, there's no communications or anything like that. I set everything inside the inverter how I want it set, and it works accordingly. I've got over 5,000 watts of solar on my roof, all right? So whenever you're connected through the communications port, you don't actually get full use of that 5,000 watts. And what I mean by that is basically the BMS inside the inverter kind of takes control of the charging parameters, okay? So you really can't change much. The BMS only allows me to charge at 10 amps. Again, maybe it's something that I'm doing wrong or I'm missing, I'm not understanding it correctly, but that's what I noticed. All right, and then once the battery is full charge, nothing happens with that excess 5,000 watts. It just goes away. Whenever I'm using my user-defined mode, in my own manual settings, as soon as the battery is full charge, I'm able to use that 5,000 watts to run my house. Whenever I'm connected through the communications port, it's like all that solar just disappears and I can't make good use of it, unless I'm doing something wrong. To be fair, every other single smart battery that I've connected, with the Ethernet cord, it's the same thing. I can only charge at 10 amps. Whenever the battery's full, it seems like the solar's gone and I'm just running straight off the battery. It's the exact same thing. So I'm guessing there's probably other protocols that I need to try. I just don't know those yet. That's pretty much it. I need to figure those out and try them. So the only thing I can suggest, if you have this battery or another battery and this inverter, I would personally use the user-defined settings, and set up the inverter to match the battery. That way you can make full use of your solar and you'll be good to go. And that's pretty much it for the cons, so we will move on to the pros. So first pro is this thing has a ton of capacity, all right? So you could 100% use this battery in a power outage, okay? Actually, if you have solar panels, you could just take off your entire house off grid and use it every single day, just like I've been doing for the past 4 days. You can 100% do that with this one single battery. I would suggest at least 5,000 watts worth of solar though. You could probably get by with a little bit less, but it seems like 5,000 watts is kind of like a sweet spot, at least for, for this whole setup right here, including my house and how we use this system. 5,000 watts of solar, 12,000 watt inverter, and the battery, we're full charge by like 1 o'clock, all right? The rest of the day we're running off of solar. 7 o'clock, I'm just gonna say we go just straight off the battery only, and the cycle continues. It just repeats. You can do that pretty much indefinitely as long as you have sun. The next pro is that stupid little button for the active balancer. Huge pro on that one. You just need to remember to turn it back off when you're done. Another pro for this is you should be able to use your stove, air conditioning, and dryer. I'm not gonna say you can use all three at the exact same time, but you should be able to use at least two of them at the exact same time. The only reason I know that, even though I haven't done it yet, is the Rhino battery that I have over there. The specs are really, really close. This one's a lot cheaper, by the way. It's got a 200 amp BMS. Output is 7,500 watts, all right? I ran the stove and the air conditioning in another video off the Rhino battery. You know, I'll link that down below if you want to see it. You should be able to do the exact same thing, no problem. Actually, if you had another battery, you could probably run all three at the exact same time. If for some reason you guys don't believe me on that, just let me know down in the comment section. Call me a liar, call me out, whatever you gotta do. I'll do a whole nother video and we'll run the air conditioning and the stove. I can't run the dryer because the way it's wired right now, but we can run the stove and the air conditioning, no problem. Another pro is you get a 10-year warranty. I don't know many battery companies out there that will have a 10-year warranty. I think the most they usually give is like maybe 2 or 3. So 10 years, you can't go wrong with that. Another cool thing about having multiple batteries from BigBattery is you can parallel them all together to increase your capacity. Really, the only thing you have to do whenever you connect them in parallel is make sure the voltage is as close as you can get it. That's it. All right, well, that's pretty much all I got. I probably wasted enough of your time. Hopefully at this point in the video, if you're still watching, hopefully you understand that you can pretty much get the exact same setup that I have right over here, minus the solar panels from BigBattery, and obviously be prepared for the next power outage. And I actually think I heard that BigBattery is going to be offering solar panels here in the future, so you might be able to just get everything from BigBattery. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Thanks for watching. If anybody's interested in the Condor Elite 3 or really anything else that BigBattery offers, they gave me a discount code to pass along to you guys, and that's Joe10. So if you want to save some cash, you can. Code's not required, but it's always appreciated because I do get a small kickback for that, which helps me create these awesome videos. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I definitely want to hear those down in the comment section. Like that smash button if you thought this video was helpful, and I will see you on the next one. Yeah. All right, I'm tired of waiting. We're gonna, where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? Nowhere? Okay.